The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 584, Mr. Somich.
It's a big old Louisiana Derby Fairgrounds. Huzzah! Last time of the year we're headed back there, Magic, and I'm okay with that. I'm not going to lie.
It is closing weekend at Fairgrounds, so Sunday will be the mandatory payouts of all the sequences, so make sure you do your handicapping for that, but we're going to focus on the late pick 5 on Saturday. Estimated $1 million pool. I like that they put $1 million estimated. They didn't put $1 million guaranteed. I'm like, you just put $1 million guaranteed. Like, this is going to hit it. You got some huge stars in this race.
I wish they would step up and just be like, hey, we're going to put it like $1 million estimated. It's low. It's probably going to be 1.5. Like, what? Just step up and say 1.5 million guaranteed, right? Just make it happen. Go for it. But there's so many, like, these tracks are just scared. They're scared. They're running scared. They don't want to put the money up.
You know what's going to be funny, too, is that Fairgrounds and Turfway Park are going to be the two tracks taking all the focus this weekend because it's both of their biggest days. They're both run by Twin Spires. What do you think the odds are that you're going to have races overlapping between them?
98%. Like, you would think that you'd have a little more like forethought every 15 minutes, run one, run the other, one the other. But you have some of these post times that are within 5 minutes of each other, which just means it's inevitable that you're going to have that issue and that you're going to have eventually these tracks going off simultaneously. It's something.
Anyways, we do have, it's an exciting card. It's $1 million estimated pick 5, but it's all stakes. We've got the return of Sierra Leone, your Breeders' Cup Classic champion, making his 4-year-old debut in the New Orleans Classic. He's going to be first time Lasix, which I was like, right before we started doing this, I was like, he's never had Lasix in a race before. I don't think it's something that's going to hurt him at all. And I don't know how much it really helps him, but it's crazy that he debuts at 2. You're not allowed to have Lasix at 2. And then he runs in graded stakes ever since then. Can't have Lasix at 3 in graded stakes. So maybe if he comes out and runs like a 150 buyer, we're like, you know what? Lasix actually does help horses.
He doesn't feel like a horse that's going to really need it, though. You mentioned it. He hasn't had it. We've seen him improve without it. He's never had a bleeding issue, so it's not something that's a concerning thing. It's just one of those situations where now he has the opportunity because he is 4, and you're at a place where they allow it with graded stakes that he's going to be able to run with Lasix. So it'll be interesting to see. It's just another one of those little nuances that kind of pops up with Sierra Leone, and we'll talk quite a bit about him in this race and kind of what we think of him going forward. But I've got a little bit of an announcement here, Magic, before we get going, that you actually don't know about yet. I've got a new show debuting tomorrow with our very own Aaron Halterman. So we're going to talk late pick 5 here at Fairgrounds. If you want everything Kentucky Derby tomorrow on VSiN's YouTube page at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific, will be the debut of VSiN at the Track with Aaron Halterman and I, where we're going to cover essentially everything road to the Kentucky Derby. So both preps, our current top 5s, as well as some of the big races this weekend. So make sure you head over and subscribe to the VSiN YouTube page as well, so you get that Kentucky Derby update every single Friday leading up to the big race.
So I did know this, and the reason I know this is because, first of all, congratulations. I'm going to step on that. That's awesome, making the public announcement about that. The reason I knew this is because Aaron and I, so you're breaking my heart twice this weekend. Aaron and I are going to Vegas this weekend. You will not be in Las Vegas this weekend.
No,
we're going to see the Red Wings play. The whole trip was around me going to see the Red Wings play the Vegas Knights because I wasn't able to go see them when I was back in Michigan for the winter. And all my fraternity brothers that were back in December, like, yeah, we'll make a big trip out of it. They all bailed. I was like, well, Somich is there. Aaron, do you want to go see the Knights with me? And Aaron said, absolutely. So I was like, we'll get Somich. Somich's like, well, I'll be gone. I'll be in Costa Rica. Fancy boy going to Costa Rica. And then, so we buy the plane tickets, get everything settled. We're supposed to get in there like, 1 o'clock on Friday afternoon and, just have 2 days of debauchery and fun. And then he goes, well, actually, I had to rearrange my travel. I won't get in until 11 o'clock at night on Friday because I'm doing this show with Somich over on VSiN now. And I'm like, Somich!
Yeah. Sorry, man. Sorry to take your Aaron away from you there Friday evening, but you'll still have a great time. Vegas is awesome this weekend, specifically for March Madness, which is already tipped off. I've got some Louisville not loving the first half. They're down 15 at half. So we'll need a big second half there to keep them around. But yeah, look, it's a great weekend to be out there in Vegas. You guys have a ton of fun. Saturday and Sunday, great days as well. I almost like those more than the Thursday and Friday just because it's just chaos these 2 days in March Madness. Saturday and Sunday, you can sit down, enjoy it a little bit more. You're able to watch every single game and all of the action. So you'll have a great time there. And I'm bummed. I love going to Golden Knights games. One of the best stadiums in the entire NHL, just from a vibes perspective. Like, it is always packed. It is always loud. Fun place to go to. I'm sorry you're going to see a loss, but hey, you kind of knew that going into it. It is a blast to watch a game. If you've not been to a Golden Knights game, definitely worth it.
When I bought the tickets and planned this out, the Red Wings were on a hot streak. They won like 7 minutes of winning 7 straight. And then like a few weeks ago, the wheels just completely fell off the car. And now they did beat Vegas in Detroit last weekend. It really wasn't, it was just within the last week or so. I am fully prepared to see them lose. The good news is it's Las Vegas. There's plenty of ways for me to treat and cope the loss.
Yeah. I was gonna say profit off the loss too. You can have a little emotional hedge there. Take the Knights minus the goal and a half, and then if they roll your Red Wings, you get some money for it.
And if they beat Detroit in overtime, that's like the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I would rather see my team lose in regulation than in overtime. Because it's like it's the sudden death feeling of just like, oh, there's the goal. All right, it's done.
Well, a lot of times you can see it coming in overtime too. So like you have the build up and you're just like, oh no. No. Big night for my St. Louis Blues tonight. If anyone wants to bet the Blues to make the playoffs, tonight is the last night to do it. You can get them as high as plus 170 out there. They're currently tied for the 8th playoff spot. They have the easiest schedule left. And they take on the Vancouver Canucks tonight at home, who I think is the other team that is in the fight for that 8th playoff spot. Vancouver has a game in hand, but St. Louis will go up 2 points on Vancouver with the win tonight. They're minus 135 favorites last time I checked. If they win that game, they're going to be minus money to be able to make the playoffs. I think it's a good investment here because I think even if they lose, they're able to come back and make the playoffs just because of how light that schedule is.
Well, if my team can't make it, I hope yours does. I mean, I hope yours does anyways because we're in different conferences, but yeah, let's go. Beat those nasty Canucks. I'm with you on that one. All right, we've got late pick 5 action at Fairgrounds to get into. All stakes, estimated $1 million pool at the Fairgrounds, and some big old stars to talk about it. Riders up. By the way, I did get a haircut because it was getting a little long and I wanted to be fresh and clean for Vegas. JV wants to know, did we both get haircuts since the last show?
I shaved. I did not get a haircut though. I did trim up
different hair.
The face hair, right? I'm planning on getting a haircut before going to Costa Rica. This is a first world problem. If I don't get a haircut, I actually get a tan line from my hair when I go to places where there's a lot of sun because I tan so quickly. And so I have that weird then I get a haircut after I get back, right? And then there's like these weird tan lines around my face because I always have to get a haircut before I go somewhere on the beach.
Yeah, first world problem. Nobody feels bad for you. All right, the first race of the 5 at Fairgrounds on Saturday, March 22nd, the Tom Benson Memorial Stakes. We're going to have 13 older fillies and mares routing a mile on the 16th on the lawn. And I'm going to guess that the 5 Sabalenka is going to scratch, though, to bring us to the field of 12. She just won over course and distance 2 days ago, back on Tuesday. So I'm going to guess that they're not going to run her back 4 days later.
I would be very surprised. So yeah, we'll assume the 5 is going to scratch out for me or out for this race here. For me, we're going to the rail. Give me the 1-horse Fun with Flags. Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt, your boy, who's yet to win at Fairgrounds Magic.
He's due.
We're going to have a Pratt day here. Look, first off, love the name. Phenomenal name there with Fun with Flags. A call out to what was the I think of it as the Bare Naked Ladies show because they sing the theme song. I can't remember the name of the show now. I'll think of it at some point. Anyway, Fun with Flags. It's a Sheldon Cooper reference from I'm really mad that I cannot think of the name of the show right now.
Big Bang Theory.
Yes, it is a Big Bang Theory reference there because he has a show called Fun with Flags on it. Anyway, this horse enters into the Chad Brown barn for the first time, adds Lasix for the first time, has run in the U.S. once before, 4 European trainer, placed in a Group 3 over in Europe. This is first off the layoff here. First time Chad Brown. I like the post draw here. We saw some speed early, but was kind of fanned wide later in that race there in the first time out at Backwood. That was the Grade 1 Belmont Oaks. Now facing Olders for the first time. I don't think it's a big issue. There's, in my mind, some significant upside with this horse that was a 70-cent favorite in that Group 3 overseas. And you go to the Chad Brown barn, you add Flavian Pratt. To me, it's all systems going. I like the price here at 9-2 as well. Surprised that we're not seeing something shorter. I expect this is your favorite, though. I do think that the Fun with Flags goes off as the favorite in this spot, Magic. Who'd you go with?
Second choice for me, and I agree. I think she's probably going to be favored in here. I'm trying to beat the morning line favorite. We'll talk about that horse in a second. I went to the 4 Tiffany as the top play here. I think second time out as a 5-year-old, she was okay last time out in the Alstal Memorial after a little bit of a break, but she was 2 for 5 over the course. She gets Ben Curtis back aboard. She's 4 for 8. Yeah, Aaron, we did say her name. 4 for 8 at the distance. I think that's pretty good. Ben Curtis knows her really well. He's got 4 wins in a third and 8 starts aboard her. So I think that she's going to have a much better effort here. Second time out. Now second time as a 5-year-old. And there's a lot of horses in this race, like the morning line favorite, the 3 Way to Be Marie, that I think are speed and not speed and quit, but speed and won't survive, won't last. So a horse like Tuffany can come from, within a few lengths of the lead. She can come from way out of it to win whatever they ask of her to do. She's always a hard trier. She's got that mine shaft as her dam sire, and mine shaft horses are just, God, there's just such hard trying horses. So I went with the 4 Tuffany on top.
Yeah, a little worried about this one, especially second off the layoff as a 5-year-old. I'd expect you see some slight improvement off that last race, and the buyer kind of fits with what we saw in the 4-year-old season as well. So Tuffany makes sense. I just felt like there was a better group than what Tuffany's been facing. There's been a lot of those overnight stakes, and this is an overnight stakes as well, 150K, but it drew a little bit more difficult in my mind than some of the ones that we've seen at Fairgrounds before. You often see that on these big days where trainers like Chad Brown have horses coming in. They're going to have other horses in these type of spots that make it a little bit interesting. So I ended up leaving the 4 off, but wouldn't knock you for going that direction. I am going to use the 7 here as my second choice. My girl Cherie DeVoe here. Irad Ortiz picks up the mount. Amber Cascade 8-1. You're getting 8-1 because it's the first time this horse is trying the turf, right? If this horse had significantly run on the turf prior to this, I don't think you get anywhere near this number. I think it's interesting that we were a favorite 2 back to debut in the 5-year-old season, win, going a mile 16th over the dirt, come back in an overnight stakes and kind of just falter. Like, wasn't a great race, broke poorly, was wide the whole time. So not a great example of it. But now we're heading over to turf, and we're trying turf for the first time for Cherie DeVoe. The fact that Irad picks up the mount, the fact that I do agree with you that some of the speed is likely to come back here, and I think Amber Cascade gets a pretty good trip behind that speed, and the price here at 8-1, all put enough in it to me to kind of go with the 7 as the second pick here. Did you use Amber Cascade, or did you leave her off?
I left her off. I'm a little. It's one of the things I'll let the horse beat me, and I'm going to be I'm going to watch her closely during the race. The breeding is interesting. Her dam didn't win on turf, but she did finish second twice. Including in an Indiana bred stakes race. And that was routing. So she's got that. The way that her run line looks on dirt, she should, if she can take that form over to turf, that kind of kick that she showed on the dirt could hopefully transfer. The kid Nate says the Amber Cascade isn't running if it's not on dirt. Weather-wise, we're supposed to stay on the turf. It looks really good for that. So we'll see. She does also have, Amber Cascade has a sibling named Travasaurus, I think is how it's pronounced. This is a horse that's is a hurdler right now, but is used to going over 2 miles on grass and jumping over stuff. Was running overseas in Europe for a while, doing the some turf running, and had limited success. I kind of came back to her with the fact that she is by Free Drop Billy, who's the son of Union Rags, and we have a rule on the show: don't play Union Rags horses on turf. Free Drop Billy's at least been better percentage wise, but a lot of his turf winners have been, because he's in Louisiana, they've been like Evangeline Downs, Louisiana Downs, like claiming level winners. So the breeding kind of scared me off on using the 7 Amber Cascade.
Yeah, and apparently Kid Nate saying DRF Hirsch said that on his YouTube video that she won't be running. If that's the case, pretty easy. I'll just pull her off and end up going 3 deep here. So if she does end up scratching out, just be a 3
Thanks,
deep.
Nate.
Yeah, appreciate it, Nate. Did not see that video, so thank you for the update there. Next round for me, the 12 horse Stir Crazy here. Mike Maker, Luis Saez, going pretty wide, which I don't love to do in these style of turf races. But this is one where, again, like, broke out of the 11 post last time in the Alstall Memorial, didn't break well, broke out, ended up 3 wide the entire race. Now you get back to Saez, who's ridden this horse well a couple times, 1 for 2 over the Fairgrounds turf. I'm kind of drawing a line through that last race. 5-1 there, 8-1 today. I actually think we float up from that 8-1 number, get a little bit better price. Loves the distance, 3 for 8 with 3 seconds as well. And Maker in these turf races just seems to find a way a lot of times with these type of horses. So I'm going to include Stir Crazy, the 12 on the ticket. Do you use the 12?
I did, yeah. I used the 12 for all the reasons you mentioned. And you just scratch out the last race. The Alstall Memorial was absolutely dominated by front runners. Top 3 finishers were the top 3 horses early. They just kind of changed their positions. So not using Nondadia, not using Way to Bit. Don't care about any of those horses in this race. But I do care about the 12 Stir Crazy. And I also used the 11 Eastern Empress. That was the last horse for me in this race. She did take a huge step forward by her speed figure wise, but she started her career in Great Britain, then came over, joined Christophe Clement last year, and she's got 2 wins in 3 seconds. And she's never faced level of competition like this. And again, the buyers need to jump up, but she's still N2X eligible. Clement could have sent her anywhere for her second start as a 5-year-old, second start off the long layoff. He chose to send her here. And I know Rosario's aboard. I still believe in Joel Rosario. And what is this horse's style? Take back, make a run. What's the one thing you can usually trust Rosario to do? Take back, make a run. Sometimes he makes a run right up into another horse's ass, but he will try to make a run with the horse. So Eastern Empress, who I think will be much higher than 8-1, unless there's a bunch of scratches, is going to make the ticket for me as well.
Yeah, this was a Rosario off for me. It's literally the reason I did not use the 11 horse is Joel Rosario. And you mentioned like the horse takes backs and makes a run. Well, yeah, when Joel Rosario rides it, it did. Like last time out where the horse is in 10th, 4 lengths back, and then makes a run to second. The 2 wins for this horse, a length and a quarter back at the half-mile point. That is like anti-Rosario. If you go back to the European form, led in some of those European races, this just screams because of the post, because of the jockey. We're going to be 10th, 15 lengths back at some point in this race. And I just have no interest in backing a horse like that who's going to need to improve quite a bit to be able to beat this field. Now, you do have the long stretch. That's a positive for Rosario specifically here. And for this horse with the assumed trip, I think we both expect Eastern Empress to get. But yeah, for me, this is it's hard to back Rosario in this spot. I will back the horse right to the inside. Wild About Hillary, the 10 horse here, 8-1 on the morning line. It's another 4-year-old. This is just sheer speed play for me. This is a horse where I think the horse makes the lead, and then we see how long we can hold on. The turf form has not been phenomenal. We've only run a couple times on the turf, but we've never gone the full 2 turns on the turf. This is Loveberry's going to send. We'll see how long Wild About Hillary can lead. I'm hoping it's the whole race. So 1, 7, 10, 12 for me. If the 7 does scratch, like tracks like the kid Nate mentioned, I will be just 1, 10, 12 in this spot.
And I'm going to knock it. If anybody's going to go gate to wire, you could definitely see Wild About Hillary being the one to do it. Second leg of the late pick 5 at Fairgrounds Saturday, March 22nd. Race 9 is the grade 2 New Orleans Classic Stakes. We're going to have, we got 10 entries. The 1 is probably going to scratch. We also heard from Michael Osen that the 8 is going to scratch. So really a field of 8. And I think those scratches are really going to hurt the 7 Sierra Leone, making his 4-year-old debut, your Breeders' Cup Classic champion, first time Lasix, surprisingly. This is an awesome horse, but I'm taking a shot against him here.
Yeah, I am. I am spreading around Sierra Leone and Hall of Fame. I think both of them are horses that I respect. Sierra Leone, this does feel like, hey, if you want to play a short ticket, if you're trying to press, you just don't use Sierra Leone. You try and beat this horse because you're going to have a heavy favorite later in Good Cheer that we will talk about that I think is pretty tough to beat. And this is first off the layoff. We're not going as far as Sierra Leone may necessarily want to go. We're going a 1 1/8, not the 1 1/4. We've seen some of the better races. Now, Sierra Leone does have a win over the track. That is a positive for the horse. But this is like, if you remember back to last year, Sierra Leone is a big horse. Those type of horses generally take a little time to get going, especially coming from the back of the pack. And you mentioned the scratch of Kinetic and Tarantino most likely being out. That takes some of the speed out of this race. And so if we're missing both of those horses, all of a sudden the pace not going to be as hot. I'm interested to see if Sierra Leone got any faster during the time off. Like sometimes you'll see horses that were dead closers turn into stalking horses. If that's the case, Sierra Leone could be a monster here. But tough for me to put that horse on top. I did put Hall of Fame on top. This is a horse that's just kind of gotten better with the last 3 starts, so specifically since coming out as a 4-year-old. Gun runner for Steve Asmussen. Jose Ortiz stays aboard one last time in the mine shaft, the local prep for this. I think gets a really good trip here, either is on the lead or sitting just off the lead. Either way, I think the 2 gets a very nice trip. And then it's a question of, can the 7 run down the 2 if the pace isn't as hot as necessarily needed for Sierra Leone to close a ton of ground?
Yeah, Hall of Fame's a single for me. He proved last out in the mine shaft. God, I was so mad because I had Como Rubino Moide in that race, and I really thought I was going to win that. And then he got caught by Hall of Fame. And what has Hall of Fame shown in his 4 wins? He can sit right off the pace, or he can go right to the front, and either way, he's going to beat your ass. But what's also the common denominator about those 4 wins? Lasix. The 3 times he's thrown up absolute 2 duds, and then his debut race didn't have Lasix. You look at his run lines, those 2 races without Lasix, he runs like a horse that bleeds and needs Lasix. So as long as he's got Lasix, Hall of Fame for me is now going to be a use. And I'm going to single him here because I thought if it's not him, I didn't want to use Sierra Leone because we're both, going to single Good Cheer in the Fairgrounds Oaks later on. Kinetic, I think, is going to scratch and run at Oaklawn in the Essex Handicap instead. So the 1's out. So there's a big speed horse that's going to soften the pace. Theoretically, I do think that the 5 Touch Upon a Star runs here. He did run in this race last year instead of going to the State Bred Stakes race on Sunday. He's an absolute monster when it comes to the Louisiana bred races. He hasn't lost a Louisiana bred race in like 3 years, I think. So I think that they keep taking their shot with him here. He's 6. This might be their last chance with him in this race. But if it's not going to, he's fun, but I just think it's all about Hall of Fame.
Yeah, look, if I last year Red Route won this race, so this is a little tougher, right? Like, let's just be honest. This is a little more difficult version of this race than what we saw last year. I'm not sure if Touch Upon a Star goes. To be honest, this race and the scratches in this race will drastically change my ticket. Like, let's say, because I'm a little interested in Kinetic, I'm a little interested in Bishop's Bay. Both of those could easily be out here, right? So if we're cutting both of those horses, I agree with you. You single Hall of Fame. Because then you're looking at Hall of Fame, you're looking at Sierra Leone. To me, Como Rubino Omoide is another one that is worth looking at. But that was kind of the best race, and everyone was pointing to that upside of a race from the 9 here. Like, are we going to get a better version of that? Is Hall of Fame going to improve? I think Hall of Fame gets the better trip here. To me, it's hard to back the 9 versus the 2, even though it was so close last time. So I'll talk about Bishop's Bay a little bit because I'm planning on using Bishop's Bay in this spot. I think he is one of those horses that has a chance to go for Brad Cox and Ira Ortiz. I'm not sure if he's going to be in there. And this is one of these frustrating things about these multiple entries and cross entries. It's pretty tough to be able to go back and forth. So for me, I was 2-7, 9-10. If the 10 scratches, I'm singling the 2 and I'm pressing a ticket. To me, that's kind of the adjustment that you make there, because all of a sudden I'm not going 2-7. It's 2 favorites. It doesn't make any sense doing that. So I want to make sure I have a price shot in here if I'm doing that. So a 2-7, 9-10 before the scratches. If we scratch, we're just going with the 2 Hall of Fame because price wise, I think you have a much better value there versus Sierra Leone sitting at 7-5 is going to get bet down in this spot.
I agree with you on that one. It makes sense ticket structure wise. So Chris May at the 9 couldn't win the last 2 times. Como Rubino Moide. I don't know how he wins today. They are making a change. He is going to be blinkers off. How that affects him, we don't know. He hasn't been blinkers off in ever. He's never raced without blinkers. So career start 16. Sometimes it helps horses when you make the adjustments. Sometimes it screws with them. So they are at least trying, to Chris's point. If the 9 wins this time, probably because the blinkers came off. That's probably going to be a big angle for it. But yeah, Hall of Fame on top for both of us here.
Yeah, and then one other thing with the 9 that I think is a concern is the distance here. I think someone mentioned it. Like, the extra furlong could make all the difference in the world for a horse that made the lead and then ended up running second in the last 2 races.
So let's say there's scratches. How low does the prices go? Hall of Fame 8-5, I could see that. But if he's 8-5, Sierra Leone, we're talking 3-5 on that horse.
Yeah,
like he's going to get hammered with those scratches.
Here's the thing: if it is the 1, the 5, the 8, and the 10 that are all out of this race, Yeah, I mean that 7-5, 8-5 number is probably somewhere in that range, and you're staring down the barrel of 3-5, 4-5 on Sierra Leone. If you keep a couple of those in there, I think you could get in that 5-2 range. But this race could get decimated by scratches, and if that's the case, you just single whoever you like more, Hall of Fame or Sierra Leone. I think the value's on Hall of Fame. But yeah, I think 7-5, 8-5 fair if we end up with a 6-horse field here.
Back to the turf for race number 10. This is the Grade 2 Munis Memorial Classic Stakes, a 1.125 miles for older horses on the lawn here. And I don't have any notes about anybody scratching out of this race. Remember the good old days of Fairgrounds when you have horses that were cross-centered in different races on the same card? God,
I do.
I hated that.
That was so frustrating.
I hated that so much. I don't hate this. I thought this was a pretty good betting race here. Lots of horses with a chance at big prices. Where did you go on top?
I went with the 5-horse here, redistricting the other Chad Brown, Spirit of St. Louis, obviously awesome last time out at romping in the Pegasus Cup World Turf Invitational. An effort that I think a lot of us thought was in there, but the fact that this horse has been running in state-bred races and not had any success when jumping up into a graded stakes, the Turf Mile specifically last year, was a little bit surprising, especially considering the effort at 1 1/8 miles right off the bench. But I do like redistricting a little bit more to the inside here. This is a horse that has seen an interesting path to this place. If you look at where he's run, it's been Backwaduck, it's been Delmar, it's been Belmont. Not the normal Chad Brown style of path, right? And now we're here at Fairgrounds. There's no Saratoga on there. It's not these big graded stakes at some of those at some of the places that you'll see like Colonial, things like that. Now did run in the Grade 1 Hollywood Derby, was a short price there. Rosario got the horse in a bunch of trouble to scratch that race off. Ran back in the Grade 2. Seabiscuit at Delmar last time out, going to mile 16th, was the favorite. Just missed to Mi Hermano Ramon, who's been phenomenal since then. So no real loss there either. This is a horse that these are the Chad Browns that pop, right? And it's similar to what we saw in Spirit of St. Louis, just pop. When you have this type of form and you see a Chad Brown that can be close to a 47.5, which he was winning at Backwaduck in that N1X allowance, and then be able to come from way off the pace in the Seabiscuit and make that interesting. It's just one of these versatile Chad Brown horses that is going to pop, going to run well off of this type of layoff. You get Pratt aboard, and I like that 9-2 price more than the 3-1, who I respect Spirit of St. Louis. I think Spirit of St. Louis could definitely win this race. I would just rather take the higher price here of these two Browns because the assumption of Spirit of St. Louis just immediately running back to what he did, I think is a little bit far-fetched.
I agree with your top play here. The Knickerbocker, the Grade 3 Knickerbocker on October 13th, it's a 5. You got to watch the replay really just from off the turn to understand what wild shit happened to this horse and he almost won. He's in third. He's on the rail with Manny Franco. And then the two horses in front of him just came back. He got shuffled back to last of 5 in a turf race in New York in the stretch. Franco had to move him way outside and then press go. And suddenly he re-engaged. The only reason he lost is because in the winner it just gotten a cleaner trip on the outside. But he was surging. And look at the form. He was 5th in the stretch and came after being 3rd and came back to do that there. I think and Franco Joseph redistricting is Chad's best turf horse. Wins for fun, maybe. He absolutely could. Is a very lightly raced horse. He's only had 6 starts, only had 2 last year as a 4-year-old. But yeah, Frank is, I can feel it, Frank. You're all in on redistricting. That's a top play for both of us in this race.
Yeah, I think the price is going to be interesting too, because I do think Spirit of St. Louis takes quite a bit of money just because of that last effort. And so we'll see what the price pops up at. I am going to use Spirit of St. Louis. I will be rooting for redistricting and probably have a win bet on redistricting as well. But I'll include Spirit of St. Louis on the ticket. And then for me, the 3rd horse on here, the 3-horse, What Say the 10-1 Maker and Saez. Again here, as I used them earlier, I didn't love the trip last time in the Fairgrounds Grade 3, the Fairgrounds a Grade 3 race over this course, kind of the local prep for this spot. Taking Candy won that day. We loved Taking Candy. That was fun. This horse broke on the rail and just kind of got shuffled and never really got room. Ended up 8 wide on the far turn to try and circle horses and be able to make a run. I think the post position, and I love the rail post in a lot of these races, I think it was a big-time hindrance last time out for What Say the. I think you get a better effort here, and you're getting second off the layoff here for Maker, going long on the turf. Saez has won with this horse 4 times previously in his career. It's a 7-year-old, but you've seen the maker improvement, right? This horse was claimed in late 2023, got a little bit better, and then got a little bit better, and then got a little bit better, and then jumped up into stakes company, and all of a sudden won a $250,000 stakes. And now we're seeing graded stakes company for maker. This is just one of those things that he does with these turf claimed horses where he stretches them out, he gets them going, and they just kind of improve. I think there's one more jump left here for What Say Thee, who runs a big race in this spot.
I agree. Made it my second choice. Yeah, I love What Say Thee here, and especially at that price. It would if redistricting wasn't in here, this would have been my top play in the race.
So you're 536 too? I was 536.
I went 5 deep in Spirit of St. Louis's last. He's a defensive use. I respect him, but it's one of those. I almost left him off just because I'm like the price off of winning the Pegasus at almost 8-1. It's gonna be a short price, but because I'm trying to beat Sierra Leone in the previous race, that's why I left him on.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But I did go. So I went 4 deep in here, and let's see who's the. Oh yeah, the other one that we agreed on, because I think we agreed on all 4 of yours. Let me look.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, we did. So the other one that we agreed on was the 4 Cameo Performance, who's a big price at 20-1. It's gonna be a tough spot for him making his 4-year-old debut. He hasn't run since August 31st in the Nashville Derby. But prior to that, he'd been running well. He broke his maiden in his North American debut at Keeneland. And this is something you say that I like to parrot, is if you can win at Keeneland at any level, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's a plus for you to do that. Didn't do any running in the Autobahn, didn't really get the kind of trip that he wanted. Almost wins the Grade 3 Marine at Woodbine, then wins the Dueling Grounds Derby Preview Stakes at Ellis Park with a big effort. I think something went wrong in the Nashville Derby for him to have the layoff from August, from that race until now. So I'm just going to scratch that off and play him back, and you get Irad riding for Brendan Walsh. They're 40% together. I know he's no T-Gaff with Brendan Walsh, but it is Irad Ortiz Jr. And unlike Flavian Pratt, Irad has been winning at this meet.
Yeah, he has. And this is one of those horses. Look, first, I love Oscar Performance as a sire, especially once you get to the 2-turn point. Like, I don't love a lot of those early races where you've seen him run 5 furlong races. Wait till they stretch out and go 2 turns. Cameo Performance, obviously, a son of Oscar Performance here. You're dead on about scratching out that race at Kentucky Downs. First off, it's Kentucky Downs. So right away, like, there's built-in excuses there. Secondly, this horse had nowhere to go for about half the race, and so you never really got the effort to really get moving and running. And then the fact that we were taking this big break kind of just reiterates something probably did go wrong for Cameo Performance there physically in that race. Walsh, very good off these type of breaks. And I love it when trainers who I respect are very aggressive with some of these placements. And this, to me, is one of those aggressive placements from Walsh in a spot where you could have found an easier race for Cameo Performance if you had wanted to. And to come back on a major day in a graded race, going 1 1/8 miles, and then you get Irad, 20-1, happy to take a chance here. We'll see what the off odds are. Because it is Irad, my guess is we don't get the full 20-1. But at the same time, this is going to be one of those horses from a pick 5 perspective that is going to be able to balloon up those prices, because you're not going to see it used as nearly as much as the 5, as the 6, and even as the 7 and 8, some other horses in here.
So the last horse I used that we haven't talked about is the 7 Rebel Red, and I'm guessing you left off because of the price, because this horse is 4-1 and using some other shorter prices in here. But Cherie DeVoe, Jose Ortiz teaming up, it kind of similar to Hall of Fame. If you look at the races where this horse has won, he had Lasix. The 2 races he didn't, kind of fell off in the stretch, didn't have Lasix. So gets Lasix again today, makes the 5-year-old debut. I'm willing to forgive the Red Smith because it was such a slow race, that classic late fall New York, just dawdling pace out there. He inherited the lead. It's like Jose wasn't going to choke him back. He just let him run up there, and he ran 3rd, but that's not his comfortable running style. He likes to have pace to chase. That's how he won at Churchill. That's how he won at Saratoga. That's how he won at Keeneland last fall. So I'm going to play him. He's on the ticket. But again, I am pressing. I have a $1 ticket that's going to cost $60 total. So if you don't want to use a 7 Rebel Red because you're going deeper in other spots, you have a higher price ticket, I get it. He's 4-1. He's probably going to be a shorter price.
Yeah, I mean, I love Cherie DeVoe. We talk about her, it feels like every week right now, because she's starting to get some of this big time stock in these pick 5 races. She's got the 7 and the 8. I couldn't with either. Like Rebel Red, to me, a little too short of a price. Needs to take a stepping up in class as well. You mentioned the Red Smith. Maybe it was Lasix. I don't think there were many excuses there. Like if you're a good horse and you get that type of pace, you got to finish the job, right? Went 138, went 114 to 6th, 138 to the mile, and just was not able to get it done. And didn't lose to one horse, actually got beat by 2 separate horses, right? So that's to me an issue there. And then the 8, like this is a new distance. I would almost lean 8 Brilliant Birdie over the 7 because I think you're getting a better price and there's a little more upside in my mind, but I'm not going to use either of the Cherie DeVos here, which is surprising for me.
I mean, every broken clock is right twice a day. Mike Somich, I guess there is going to be a chance when you're going to have 2 Cherie DeVos options and you're going to pass on both of them.
Yeah. What can I say?
Maybe that's a testament to how much he likes those other horses. If Mike is saying no to 2 Cherie DeVos horses at short prices.
Usually we don't have short prices on them. Like usually when you're playing Cherie DeVos, it's not, we'll call this the lukewarm 4 favorites, right? The 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, all priced between 3 to 1 and 5 to 1. It feels like they should be, specifically Rebel Red and Brilliant Birdie should be like 8 to 1 and 10 to 1. And we're sitting here at 4 to 1 and 5 to 1. So I couldn't at those prices. And I do think because of how good she's been, especially at this Fairgrounds meet, they both do take some money in this spot.
Ron asks, is Spirit of St. Louis really going to be the favorite here? I mean, the buyer is the number one thing that gets overbet the most, right? Yeah,
and the win of the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational. I mean, that's arguably the biggest turf race we've run so far this year, and this is your winner, right? And it's a Chad Brown horse who's second off a layoff, who was awesome off that first race. It's a Spirit of St. Louis horse also who, like, this was a hyped horse and ran so well on Belmont Day. I think it was 2 years back, and has run well in those state-bred races. There has been belief that effort was in Spirit of St. Louis. We just hadn't seen it actually manifest itself to the track. And the fact that off the layoff, Brown decides to put him in that race and then it manifests itself, there's going to be a lot of people that believe that is the new floor for Spirit of St. Louis and that this can be one of the better turf horses going long in the U.S. this year.
Penultimate leg of the Late Pick 5 Saturday, March 22nd. It's the Grade 2 Fairgrounds Oaks. We have 9 entered. 8 will run because I just lost my notes. Where is it? Somebody's running. Oh, the 6, Bless the Broken, is going to scratch in favor of the Bourbonnette Oaks at Turfway Park on Saturday instead. Smart move. We're both singling the 7 Good Cheer. So instead of talking really hyping her and spending a bunch of time on her, if she loses, who is your upset play in here? Who do you think gets the job done? If not the 7 Good Cheer.
If it's not the 7, now I'm going to talk nice about Cherie DeVos. It's the 3, Ahava, which is Vava's younger sister, right? And this is a horse that went gate to wire first time out. Looked awesome on debut. Won as a favorite in that race at Fairgrounds on another big race day there. $400,000 daughter of City of Light. Should have absolutely no problem with the additional distance. And I don't love it at this first time going 2 turns, but you're going to get the lead from that 3 post. You're faster than the 2 horses inside of you. There is some speed to the outside. We'll see if you get a press from her laugh or not. But that's a situation where, look, we've heard this. We've seen this before. You've got the Ortiz shake and bake that can totally happen with the 3 and the 5 here, who are your 2 speed horses. I wouldn't be surprised if Avava gets the lead and then becomes the main threat for Good Cheer here. And Irad helps his brother out, making sure that no one else gets close to Ahava on that first turn.
So we had similar thought processes. I went with the 5 Her Laugh. She won her first 2 starts, won the Untappable her first time going 2 turns, and then went to the Suncoast and just destroyed the break and never had a chance. But she still ran up for second. I thought with everything against her, the fact that she came on and still got second was impressive. I think the Ortiz brothers play some games up front. And I think that if Good Cheer loses, it's not because she didn't fire. It's because the Ortiz brothers did something screwy. And it screws things. I could also, if the 3 and this 5 dick around a lot, I could see the 2 Gowell's Delight benefiting a little bit from that. She did finish second to Good Cheer and Rachel Alexandra, and they bring her back instead of running her last weekend. It was a choice.
If you're, let's pretend we're the Ortiz brothers, okay? Me and you, and you're Irad, I'm Jose. And we're talking about
give me the Lloyd Christmas haircut, sure.
Whatever. You got more Eclipse awards than I do. Let's say we're in the jockey's room where we're having dinner the night before at a restaurant, right? Having some nice red wine. Be like, look, I've got the inside. I've got the speed. I'm going to go out and get the lead. I'll clear the 2. We'll put the 2 on the rail right behind me. Let's make sure you get right outside of me, and then we'll just slow this thing down.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that the discussion?
Yeah, it's got to be, even if they don't flat out talk about it, it's got to be on their mind to do something with that. And I think if you're the 5, if you're IRAD, depending on where good cheer breaks, I think your job with the 5 or the 2, whatever, the 5 or the 3, the 5 or the 3, one of them, their job is to keep good cheer wide, and you kind of play tactics of trying to, you either box her in or you force her to be 3 wide in both the turns. Yeah.
Do you want to be 3-4 wide? Because I'm going to float to the 3 path after I secure the 2 path and screw the 2. I'm going to you could just picture it in your mind where the 3 gets the lead, gets the rail. The 5 is in the 2 path, the 7's in the 3 path. And then all of a sudden they go into the turn and we're just going out a little bit on that 5. And all of a sudden the 7 is 4 wide on this first turn. And that's how the 3 is able to go gate to wire, or the 5 is good enough to run her down late. So we'll see. We'll see.
I like Mark's comment. If you 2 are the Ortiz brothers, I'm Paco Lopez. Luis Saez just bashing his way through.
Oh, no kidding, right? Anyway, I still think the 7's good enough to win, and I think Luis Saez has ridden against these jockeys enough to know what to expect in this spot. So if I'm Luis Saez, I'm like, cool, you guys go do your thing. I'm going to sit behind the 5, and then I'm just going to be better than you on the far turn. It's one of those situations where you have the best horse. Don't get in trouble. Just don't get in trouble, right? So I do like the 7 on top. I think the 3 goes gate to wire because of some goofiness if we do see a upset here.
The 5th and final leg is the Grade 2 Louisiana Derby. 100 Kentucky Derby points to the winner, 50 to second. If you have 0 points coming into this race, finish top 2, you are in the Kentucky Derby. This is a race and a circuit that has produced several top Kentucky Derby contenders over the last handful of years. I keep waiting and waiting for one of those horses to emerge on the Fairgrounds circuit, and it hasn't happened yet. Maybe somebody can surprise me here in the Louisiana Derby. Where'd you go on top?
I'm going for a price here. Let's close this pick 5 out with a nice little 10-1 number on the outside. Give me the 10 Hipness on top here. I can't believe this is really your pick too.
Not my top pick, but second. I love Hipness here. Please keep going.
This is a horse where, first off, let me just say this. I don't think this race is wonderful. So I'm willing to take a shot here with a horse at 10-1 that has, to me, a ton of upside. So breaks the maiden at Fairgrounds on a sloppy track going a mile and 16th. I thought looked awesome in that race. Comes back and runs in the Grade 2 Rebel. Go watch the stretch of the Grade 2 Rebel because it doesn't really do justice. The traffic at the quarter pole weighted at the 8th pole. That's what it says in the notes. If you go back and you watch this race, this horse was behind a wall of horses that were backing up off a 22:45 pace and then tries to shift into the middle to get a lane and then gets pinched and then runs on. So that type of effort for a second start, second time going 2 turns, first times against Stakes Company tells me there is a ton of talent here. The trip just needs to be a lot cleaner. And then you look at who else is in this race and where the speed could play out. The 8's going to go. The 1's going to go. The 4's going to go. This sets up well for someone to come from off the pace. It's a big stretch there at Fairgrounds. Hipness to me has the talent. Can we get the trip as well? I'll take a shot here, 10-1. And McPeak seems to win one of these every year. Why not this one, Magic? Give me Hipness, 10-1.
For every reason that you explained, yes to Hipness. And I'm gonna pull up the replay because I want people to see.
we are that in line here. The 4 on the rail, that's Hipness.
Yeah, here at audio listeners, sorry, we'll try to describe. So he's moving now. He's waiting for position. You can tell the way Brian's riding. He's got horse. He's trying to figure out, where do I send this horse? Innovator's quitting on the rail. Okay, we're gonna dip out, go behind Tiz-tastic. All right, nobody's kicking on in front of me. Holy cow! Let's stop it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 horses blocking him. He's got nowhere to go. He's gonna try and go between the 9 and the 13. Okay, got a space there. All right, nope, it just got tight. Let's go to the rail. Nothing. Okay, nothing. He was so loaded with horse, and then doesn't quit. He's gonna keep trying. He was so loaded with horse there and just couldn't get through.
And if you go back, he gets beaten to the jump too. Right before you mentioned where he gets cut off to the inside, he gets beaten to the jump to the outside because Hernandez didn't gear him up quick enough and make that decision. And so with all of that went wrong, a horse making their second start and able to then take a step forward to me is like, I thought that was an improvement off that first effort. And the fact that the re-rally to me shows this is a good horse. A lot of horses just stop when all that happens to them. He's like, no, I'm going to keep moving back and forth, left and right. And then when I get a seam, I actually am going to run and close on the leader. So I thought that was a very, very good performance. And that's why we were taking Hypnos on top.
I went with John Hancock as well on the rail. This is another kind of fresh face to this group here. Wins his debut, going 6 furlongs, looks good. Son of Constitution stretches out, wins the Sam F. Davis. Actually has to come back on the inside. Not easy for a horse to do in its second career start, first time going long, but got headed by Owen Almighty, fights back on the inside, beats him. Owen Almighty out of that race. I know he got a dream set up, but he dominated the Tampa Bay Derby. Should go to the Pat Day Mile. The trainer's being forced to prep him for the Kentucky Derby. Sorry, Brian Lynch. But John Hancock, to me, I think has a lot of upside. He's going to be a short price in here. I know he's 7-2. He's probably going to be like 5-2 post time, maybe 2-1. I don't know about this horse's distance capabilities. I actually would have liked him better if he was going a mile and an eighth, a mile 3/16. Because you're like, okay, Constitution is a sire, should be able to run all day. But you look at the Dam side. The Dam was a turf sprinter. That was her only win, was turf sprinting. But he's also a half sibling to Speech. She won the Grade 1 Ashland, which was a mile and a 16th race. And the Dam sire was a really good turf router. So I got mixed feelings here on this horse's chances to get the mile 3/16. If he can, I think he's the best horse in the race. So I will put him on the ticket as well.
Yeah, I can't put the favorite on the ticket in a race where he needs the lead, which I think we agree. He has to go gate to wire, right? That's how he wins.
He hasn't shown that he can do otherwise. We'll say that.
Okay, so he's got to go gate to wire. He's the favorite. He's on the rail, so he's got to break. He's got to make the lead. You've got the 8 Furio, who is a sprinter, can run a 21 change first quarter if he needs to. He's obviously not going to, but he's going to clearly be part of this pace. The 4 Yins are clearly going to go here for Asmussen as well to try and help set it up for Tistastic. I can't take a short price for a horse that has to improve, that is stepping up in class from a circuit perspective, that has to make the lead when there's 2 other speed horses. Like it's also going longer than I think the horse maybe wants, and is also going the longest of his career. It's just too much for me at that 7-2. I think John Hancock probably goes off at 2-1, 8-5, like somewhere in that range. And that was just way too short for me to want to put this horse on. Could 100% win the race. Not good enough in my mind to be that short of a price favorite. And so I couldn't include it. I am going to include the 6 Built. The Built ran last time here in the Risen Star. That race was the race where Magnitude won and ran, 108 by or something crazy, going gate to wire on the front end. American Promise came out of that race to go win the Virginia Derby. You're seeing horses actually run okay out of that race. And so I'm going to come back. I'm going to use Built, who ran 3rd in that spot. You also had the 2 Chuck of Gold. Don't hate the 2 if you want to include the 2 on my ticket as well. That would have been my 4th horse on here. But I do think that the 6 has a big opportunity here to be able to take a step forward. The pace sets up well. Built should be able to run into that pace, come from a little bit off it. I think this is another horse that is very live in this spot. And I think you get all the 4-1 because I do think John Hancock takes the money.
4th horse for me. I left off just because of the price, but he's a fun horse. It seems like Fairgrounds gives us one of these every year where it's like they show up in every race and they always give you a good effort, and whether or not things play out for them is a different story. But man, he's a fun horse. I like that Wayne Catalano's putting blinkers on. He's trying to do something here to get more out of the horse, get him a little more engaged in the racing early, because his 2 wins, he was right there on the front early on. The 2 defeats, the last 2 races, he was 3 lengths, 4 lengths behind it early on and just never really progressed much. The Lecomte, they all came back to him, and he actually should have won that disco time from the clouds with the outside favoring flow and the closing favoring flow there. So I don't hate it being on there with me using John Hancock at 7-2. Built kind of hit the cutting room floor, but he is a fun horse, and I would love to see him in the Kentucky Derby. The way that he's continued to run, I really hope that he runs, a top 3 finish if he doesn't win here, get enough points and give them enough courage to send him to the Kentucky Derby, because he deserves it for what he's been able to do so far.
He feels like he's been up against it a couple times here at Fairgrounds too. I mean, Chris Mello mentioning that they didn't see any of the rail last time out on a rail bias. Like, it was hung wide the race before that, still made a run and just missed. It'd be nice to see Built just get a clean trip, an even trip, a fair trip, right? Not even, a positive trip. So we'll see if that happens this Saturday. So you're on John Hancock. Who else are you using here?
We're both on the 7 Vassimo. Blinkers going on for this runner for Todd Pletcher. Crossed the wire first in his debut. Disqualified for testing positive for betamethasone. Pletcher's having to deal with that on his own. Rapture came out of that race to break his maiden impressively, and then ran a pretty bad race in the Virginia Derby, for being honest. But Vassimo, out of that, looked even better at Tampa Bay Downs, going 2 turns, Mount 40. And then in the Risen Star, he was part of that early pace or partly early stalking group with Built. And kind of the same excuse I think you make for Built tiring late in the stretch there for Vassimo. They were chasing Magnitude, who just literally broke their hearts in the stretch. Like, they saw him pull away, and they all just kind of like, you could see the horses just like their hearts being broken, ripped out of their chest when that happened. And that, I think, allowed for Chunk of Gold to come flying late and catch both of them. But Vassimo, I think, is on the improve. This will be his 4th career start. B Sharp Sonata, the Dam, has produced some really good runners as well. The blinkers going on is a nice touch. And, Pletcher has won this race before. Don't forget, he had Kings Barnes, different running style, but he does send horses to Louisiana to win this race.
Yeah, I like this horse quite a bit. I like the blinker ad. I think that makes this horse really interesting. 12-1, a great price. We'll see if we actually get 12-1. This is the horse I'm worried gets bet down. I think Hypnus, you do get around 10-1. I'm not sure we get it from 12-1 on Vassimo here, but this is a horse that's shown speed, shown the ability to sit behind other horses and pounce. So we know we can pass horses. We know we've got some tactical speed. The blinker ad, to me, this looked like a horse that needed to add blinkers when you go back and you watch that last race, because it just was a little bit mentally not where you need to be able to win one of these prep races. I'm hoping the blinkers puts this over the top. Also interesting, if you go back and you watch the workouts, the last 2 workouts for Vassimo were both with blinkers. It's the first time he'd worked with blinkers. And the first workout is a mess, like an absolute mess. Second workout's very good. It's one of his best workouts that you've seen, and it's with the blinkers. Second time using them. I think Vassimo runs a lot better with these blinkers. I think it's a good move from Pletcher here. I think he's live at 12-1.
Neither of us using the coach's horse Caldera in here. He was second beat to nose in the Sunland Derby. I thought was a great effort. And he was a horse I thought would want more distance, but 2 concerns. One, Tyler Gaffleone, really getaway car was trash in the Virginia Derby, just horrible. I don't like that Bejarano didn't keep with this horse. He was aboard for the big maiden score. Followed him to Sunland for that race. Bejarano, rather than go to Fairgrounds and ride in $1 million Derby prep and have a Derby horse, he decides to stay at Oaklawn for the $500,000 Essex handicap and a bunch of claiming races. That doesn't scream faith to me that he thinks Caldera is any good.
Yeah, the Bejarano part concerns me, especially considering he doesn't have a Derby horse. Like, this would be your Derby horse. And now maybe Lucas said, hey, T-Gaff, do you want the ride? I wasn't happy with Bejarano from the Sunland Derby. I don't really understand that, because I thought Bejarano rode him fine in the Sunland Derby. I agree with you. Getaway car was disappointing in the Virginia Derby, and horses that beat Getaway car lost to horses last time out of Fairgrounds here, like Built, right? So, and Chunk of Gold too. So it feels like Caldera needs to take a step forward. This is one of those where if I'm wrong, I hope Caldera wins. I wouldn't mind. Like, I'd rather Caldera wins than John Hancock, since I'm not using John Hancock. And this is one of those my racehorse horses. Ton of people would have interest in the Derby. So, like, all the luck in the world to Caldera. Rooting for everybody for my racehorse. But it's a no for me, especially at the price. 5-1, which is going to most likely get bet down or stay around the same price.
Yeah, got a perfect trip in the Sunland Derby, but I agree with you. It's great for the sport if my racehorse has horses like that in the Derby, because you're getting more people interested in the sport and invested in it. And also, 2 people we're close with have interest in Caldera, Shoddy and Ryan Stillman. So for their sakes, I'd like to see it happen. Listen, finish 4th. You should get enough points, or even 3rd. You'll get enough points to make it to the Kentucky Derby. Innovator, please win the Jeff Ruby Stakes. You imagine Lucas has 3. If Lucas could get 3 horses into the Kentucky Derby, and then on top of that, think about who Baffert has and like what they could or couldn't do in the Derby. Baffert might not have 3 horses in the Kentucky Derby. So you can have Lucas with 3 horses and Baffert with probably Citizen Bull and Barnes.
I think Baffert will have more than 2. I don't think we've seen the best Baffert horse in a stakes race yet.
He's got to hurry his ass up, Cornucopian. You got one chance.
Yeah, he'll be back. He's running the Arkansas Derby.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining us for the final trip to Fairgrounds of the year. Mike is doing a happy dance over there. We'll give out our tickets one final time. Visual people, take a look below. Podcast listeners will read them out for you. I'm going to go 1, 4, 11, 12, single the 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, single the 7, and then 1, 7, 10. I'm pressing it for $1 and it's still only 60. So if you want to spread a little bit, go for it. But I did use some shorter prices in there, so I don't want to get too expensive. Mr. Somich.
I am going to play a 50-cent ticket. It'll cost you $72. And I will make a caveat at the end of this ticket. So make sure you keep listening. You don't just stop the podcast as soon as I give this out here. 1, 10, 12 with 2, 7, 9, 10 with 3, 4, 5, 6 with 7 with 6, 7, 10. That costs you $72. If the second race in the sequence gets decimated by scratches, meaning the 10 is out, the 1 is out, the 5 is out, just single the 2 and play it for $2. It'll cost you the exact same amount, and we're singling against the favorite there with Hall of Fame. I agree with Magic. That's the horse I would single there. I have the 7 or the 9 and the 10 in there as prices against the 2 and the 7. If all of a sudden this thing's decimated and we're down to a field of 6, just single the 2 and press the ticket for a little bit more. Play it for $1 for $36, 2 for 72, whatever you want to do. But I do think shortening up there is the way to handle it if we do see a lot of scratches.
Over on racingnews.com, Louisiana Derby Bible is up and available. We'll go check that out. Blinkers Off was live on Wednesday, so you can check out the replay on YouTube or download the podcast and get their thoughts on everything Louisiana Derby, as well as Jeff Ruby's Stakes. Aaron's got picks and previews for both of those major Derby preps, and another episode of Talkin' Track is out with Ryan Stillman, a new show Aaron and Ryan are doing. They had a really great pedigree expert on, I think, was it last week? Was it last week or 2 weeks ago, where he explained why Barnes was a play against for him in terms of distance, why he loved journalism, why he loves sovereignty. And I don't know if it's the same. I haven't listened yet, but they did have another pedigree talk on this show. So go check it out. It's really great information. It's a lot of fun, and it's well put together. You will not find Mike Somich on VSiN after tomorrow, but you can find him tomorrow at what time with the new show?
Well, no, I will be on this weekend. So we got a new show tomorrow, Friday, 11:30 Pacific, 2:30 Eastern. VSiN at the track, the road to the Kentucky Derby. I'll be hosting it with Aaron Halterman. We're going to have top 5 Derby picks. We're going to talk Louisiana Derby with straight bets. So we talked about the pick 5s here. We're going to talk about how to bet that race specifically, win, play, show, exact, the trifecta. We'll talk Jeff Ruby Stakes. We will talk about the races in the future, as well as cover some of the major stakes races from this weekend. And then Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific to 1 p.m. Pacific, and then that's 1 p.m. Eastern as well. I really botched that. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, 3 hours on VSiN both days, talking tournament, talking horses, a little bit of everything there as well with Matt Brown on Ready, Set, Bet.
I will be on this evening, so 5 to 8 Pacific, covering some nighttime action. I haven't even looked at what races I have to cover. It's probably going to be Turfway Park in Charlestown and a lot of rough stuff, but it'll be fun. I'll be on with Adam McGrath. He's a good time. He's actually in Las Vegas as well. And then Aaron and I will be in Las Vegas. So if you're there this weekend, give us a shout. If you're in Costa Rica, Chris Maillo looking at you. Give Mike Somich a shout. You guys can go have your own little Magic Mike Show groupie party there on the beaches of Costa Rica getting suntanned.
Yeah, Chris Maillo, I fly out to Costa Rica on Sunday, flying into Liberia. I don't remember what the airport is. Then we're heading to the rainforest, heading to the beach, be back in a week. And Philip, yes, Pedlo, we are going to have a live chat for that. It's going to be on the YouTube page on VSiN. So youtube.com/@VSiN Live. It'll be on there. We're going to have a live chat going, so you can ask questions, write in your comments, tell us how bad we are picking horses, anything you want to do there in the live chat. We'll do our best to respond as we go out throughout the show. There'll also be a live replay if you want to catch that, which is going to be on channel 158 on Sirius XM Radio on Saturday morning, as well as on the VSiN TV channel Saturday morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Follow on Twitter. I'm at Curtis Kalleward. He is at Somobomb 18 #1 #8. There's the link down below for how you can find the VSiN Live channel there. And we'll be back, I think you'll be gone for a week. So we'll be back in April. So we'll see everybody in April.
Oh, you're not going to have a show next week? It's Florida Derby. It's Arkansas Derby.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah,
well, I'll be back. I'll find someone to join me.
There you
go. Until then, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this week.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by racingdudes.com.